One of the reasons I came anyway, Tim, I'm sure, has made you aware of our dumpster problem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I asked him, because I mentioned several times in the correspondence that you had offered twice to buy that lot at 15 or 12 or 15.
Well, it was, and I told him in the email or in the text or when I was talking to him last week, I always forget his name, who owned the lot and gave it to his kid.
Roger.
Kevin. Roger. Right about the time, right before they moved from here back permanently, basically, to Yukon or wherever it was that he was living. I know he'd come down to around 15 on that lot, and I told him, because I was sitting at about 9 initially, and then I was like, oh, maybe 12, but I know he came down to at least 15. But I told Tim all that, and I said, hey, I'm willing to, but even so, it doesn't matter because land prices have gone up so much.
Yeah, they have.
And I, of course, regret it, but I told Tim I still would like to buy it, and I've offered it to him. But he told me at the HOA meeting, Kevin just flat out said, no, we're not selling it. We're going to see this through right now, and then we'll see what happens after that. He goes, but you'll be the first to know, as far as being able to
Well,
buy
my
it.
thought process was, I think Tim said you had come up to 25. Is that right?
I told him, I talked to the wife this week, when we talked a few days ago. It's like, I don't want to just because I'm cheap.
Well, everybody
frugal.
wants to.
I'm frugal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I want that as a buffer. And
It makes sense for you to have
I
it.
would come up to 25
Yeah.
if I had to. I don't like it because I feel like Kevin and
Are screwing us.
and is it Kathy? Not Kathy. Shelley.
We call them Bonnie and
Shelley.
Clyde.
I feel like they're just taking advantage of everybody.
They are.
And it pisses me off.
They
But I want the damn lot if I can get it. Yeah.
Well, my thought process was, and of course Tim has been a little reluctant to pass information on to me. He thinks it's just the board, and I've told him and Kevin, it affects all of us.
It does.
If we want to know about something, you shouldn't be holding it back.
Yeah.
And Tim's been sending me, the emails.
I think the only thing how this is going to go, but there's, to me, zero, and I mean absolutely, take it to a jury or to a judge. If we have to remove the dumpster, we have to remove the dumpster. But it's like, I don't see how, even if we're 6 inches or 8 inches, 6.5 inches onto the property, which he just shared with me.
Yep.
You got pictures of him partaking in that. And if it was, quote, temporary by his signed notary, which is right before he died, and he also had dementia, there was no written agreement between the HOA and him.
And that was a big mistake.
And, well, that was a big mistake, but there's also a big mistake that he partook in it and got pictures of it, and it's a foundation and brick, so that kind of makes it permanent in a way, as permanent as things get, right?
Yep.
So it's like they have no leg to stand on other than, as far as for penalty, other than, okay, we remove the dumpster. Then there's no harm, no foul, right? That's the worst case it could get, in my opinion, logically.
Yep.
But of course, logic gets thrown out the window when you get lawyers involved.
In my mind, and of course I'm a little biased, I'm the one that built it. I mean, I put it together.
You have bias because you helped start this whole damn thing. And which is a fantastic thing. It's just there were a couple mistakes, and one was not having it in writing that was going to be permanent. But regardless, it was in an easement, supposed to be. And if it's off by 4 inches, you got pictures of him helping.
Well,
so I don't. It really irks me. But yes, Tracy and I have already talked about it. We're willing to buy the lot up. I'll say what I consider a premium with the dumpster on it and low land. So
it'd be hard to build. You'd have $30,000 worth of fill in there.
Yeah, you look at Tim and inflation, you're looking at 30 plus grand to get it to where it needs to be.
Yep.
I agree. So yes.
Well, that was my big, in my mind, I was wondering, are you willing to partake in the June arbitration meeting, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because I forgot what date it is. It was supposed to be July.
It meant, yeah, it depends when, because let me grab my phone.
Okay.
17th? Father's Day, whatever Father's Day is.
Okay.
I'll tell you what that is. But I would, if they would be willing to telecon with me in it, I'll be willing to jump in.
Well, I told Tim I plan on participating.
16th through the 23rd, we're gone.
Okay. Well, we might could. I mean, you're a key component, neighbor, willing to purchase it. To me, you're the number one guy that needs to be involved. And then, I don't know if you saw, he told State Farm to be prepared to write a check when they came.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, 25 for you, and then State Farm can.
I don't understand, though. Even let's. Yeah.
I don't agree with it.
I don't agree.
I don't think they should get a penny in my mind.
I just don't like. The whole thing drives me nuts with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And as I told Tim, they've been given everything.
Yeah.
Kevin has been given everything.
Absolutely.
And they're still wanting more.
Yeah.
And they're basically going, screw you to the entire neighborhood.
One of the feathers in my cap against them, Roger had a blue Chevrolet pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the pickup was down at Alan Denton's place. Well, they had taken it to Edmond, let it set. Rodents got into it.
Mm-hmm.
Alan spent quite a bit of time fixing everything and presented them with a $500 bill. They took the bill to Roger and Charlotte for them to pay. And the truck's going to be theirs down here. Can you imagine that?
They are.
I just can't imagine that.
They never got off the.
We get a lot of our.
They never got off the tip.
If we get a lot of our information from Don Troxel. Don is some kind of relationship to one in the marriage, and she talks to Roger and Charlotte's daughter quite frequently, and she brings us up to speed on a lot of this stuff that nobody else knows about.
Yeah.
So,
well, Brian, we're interested in that lot, and I would pay up to 25. I don't know that I would pay any more for it, but
that's reasonable.
I just think because of the low, as I told Roger, it's like, Roger, you got the dumpster on it, one, and two is, and I said, I'm not interested in buying all three, and he made me an offer. And I can't remember. The problem is I don't have any records of it, right? So I don't know that bears any value. And it's like, and I know Tim put in, or it's going to cost a lot to fill in that dirt. I don't know how much. So I said we're just slightly apart, and I was hoping he'd come down.
You're not wanting to build on it. You're just wanting to have it as a buffer.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would probably clean it out a little bit, except for back here, because I want as much vegetation back here as I want, as I can have between us and the neighbors back there.
Correct. Yeah.
And I just, I don't think they're going to sell it. I don't think it's going to matter a lick, because as Kevin said, they think they're going to win, and they're going to see this through the end. And they've been more, I'll say, outgoing to me. First time ever Kevin has said anything to me was a couple months ago when he was over here dumping stuff or cleaning up stuff, dumping debris. And he'd never interacted before, ever. And Shelley kind of the same way, but she's a little bit more social. But I have a feeling, they made a comment at the HOA meeting on the side as we're talking, and she has a cousin that's a nurse, I think, that needs a lot, property to build on, and I think they are interested in possibly
taking that one,
giving her a lot, or not giving, they sell.
Yeah.
And I was thinking they're not going to sell. I just don't. Even though they say that I'd be the first to know for offer to get to buy the lot, I don't think they're going to. Especially, why wouldn't they just sell it to me right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Have you offered 25 yet to them?
I just told them, tell me what you're going to sell it for,
Okay.
and let's talk, because I'm willing to come up.
The reason I'm thinking that they may bite at the dollars, which I think is all they're interested in. Kevin's not working,
I know.
and
I know.
Shelley's the only one working.
know.
I think they're needing the cash. You know.
I don't know what they're needing, quite honest. I think they're just greedy.
That too.
I just think they're greedy.
Yeah, that too.
And my fear is when they mentioned to me on the side, Shelley made some comment about, well, you know, about HOA enforcement of rules like the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Mike was running a business out of his shop, basically, or out of his house.
Mike.
And Craig, I thought she was talking about Craig and
Ashley.
Uh-huh. And come to find out, they've got their building over there off Texana that they're supposed to be migrated to now. But
Yes.
So I was like, all right. So she was referring to Mike, because I know they don't get along at all.
Mike Troxel?
Yeah. That if that's the case, if it's in our bylaws, which it is, no business, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that needs to be cleaned up. But regardless, if the HOA is not going to enforce that, she mentioned something about just build a storage building over here and rent it out to people.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
heard
like,
that comment.
What? All of a sudden, our HOA goes to hell, I'll say, because they would rent it to anybody outside the neighborhood and so forth.
And if I was you, I wouldn't want that to happen at
No,
all.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
So I will say, and I told Tim, it's like, you guys need to get on this business thing. If Mike and I said, Craig told me a month ago that they were basically just moving all their stuff over there to run out of that other building.
I think it's going to happen. It hadn't yet.
It's like, that should have already happened. You know, I still see his trailer being pulled across. I love Craig. I absolutely think the world of him. But it's like, you can't take advantage. You can't have it your own way.
Well,
right?
Mike is really, I don't consider him running a business out of his place. He's been building his place. He's got that enclosed trailer, and they've got a couple of lots over here off Texana. Well, it's right there by Craig and Ashley. It's up the hill. They bought 2 lots to build spec homes on. So anything they do is going to be over there.
I've seen his trailer, and I didn't know until after. I mean, literally like a month ago or so. And I've seen, when I was out here, the odd times I get out here for a few days, I've seen his trailer go by, and it's like, well, shit, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And
well, he also uses that for his side-by-side. We ride side-by-sides together,
yeah.
And he bought it for
Well,
that.
I think it wasn't for the side-by-sides. I think he was just running, I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
But if there's a perception, it needs to be, I'll say, cleaned up, right? I just don't want them to go screw the HOA and build a storage facility out here, not only for people in here, but
Anybody.
they'll rent it to anybody.
Yeah.
Knowing them, they'll rent it to anybody, period. Especially their friends back here.
Well, you've probably noticed over time, anyway, I've got those 2 lots on the other side of the street from me, back in here.
Yeah.
I've got my RV in there and
Yeah.
the garage.
Yeah.
And that's a trailer haven. I've only got 2 trailers in there, and there's 6 or 7 trailers in there. One of them's Craig's, 3 of them are Jack's, and one of them's Mike Troxel's. But I haven't cleared that. I kept it hidden.
Yeah. It's hard to see. It's hard to see from the road.
Yeah.
Flat out.
And there used to be, but when we bought this property, there used to be a road that went across and through the property and down across the lake before it was flooded. And I pretty much used that clearing. I've cleared a little bit, but I've left all the perimeter to do just exactly what you're doing here. So
It makes me nervous because he came in here and I saw it on my cameras pick up stuff with, I'll say, from the driveway up or in.
Yeah.
And his dog would trigger it running late at night,
Kevin.
11:30, midnight. And I go to see what's going on, and I see in the background a fire, and he's burning back here at 11:30 at night or midnight.
really,
And
I didn't know that.
And he's supposedly, and next time I'm out here, I'm looking, it's like, well, is he clearing? Well, he's cut some trees, including a pretty good sized stump. And it's like, next time I saw Shelley, because she pulled onto my lot, and was walking back there, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? And she pulled literally between my driveway and the telephone thing, and just pulled right in there, and it's like, so I walk over there, and it's like, Shelley, what are you, I'm just grabbing something. I was like, well, don't drive over my water meter, number one. And, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't even know it was there.
Well, and there's a spot.
But
for
it's
them.
like, what are you guys doing? Because I noticed the stump. I just walked over here and I saw this stump, and I never try to go over into their lot, ever. But I was like, it looks like it's being cleared. So I just kind of walked over there because I saw a cut tree, and sure enough, there's a couple cut trees. And I was like, are they thinking of doing something? What are they up to? You know? And she goes, oh yeah, we're just trying to clear. And then that's when she mentioned her cousin, who she's thinking, well, she's trying to find the property, and there's nothing out here in the area, you know, around Lake Eufaula area. And it's like, oh, crap. That means they're not going to be selling me the lot.
She's going to sell them a lot. It'd be better to sell them.
One of them, yeah.
Point them down there.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But those are her valued lots.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, you're right there.
So I'm a little nervous of what they're going to do. Quite
I
honestly.
am too. And I've thought I'd love to see it go to court.
I do too.
Yeah.
I absolutely, it's like, we should not settle.
I
We
know.
absolutely should not settle.
Yep.
But I don't want them just all of a sudden going, well, we're going to go clear out and build something in here that's going to be at the detriment of everybody, not just me, but everybody. And that's what concerns me. And so when I'm saying that is the two businesses, and I think Craig has great intentions to move to his other property, but I just haven't seen the motivation yet. And to me, the board just needs to go, hey, look, and Mike Troxel, we want to make sure it's clear what you're doing. No problem with what you're doing if you're just running your trailer periodically from your building to your whatever.
Yeah, and that's
no big deal, right?
Yep.
No extra wear and tear, no other extra curricular activity coming through the neighborhood. We just need to enforce our rules so they don't get away with murder. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what scares me.
Well.
And I beat myself up for not buying that lot from Roger for $15,000.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of things we look back on that you should have done, but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to even build a storage place in there, they'd have to do a hell of a lot of fill,
Well, maybe.
wouldn't they?
I think between you and me, Brian, and don't repeat this, I think you could, it's just like on this, they could move a lot of dirt. They cleared
From
all
back
this
here.
out here, which would open up everything to the neighborhood back here, which is absolutely we don't want to do. They could move a lot of that dirt up there, and it would take care of a lot of problems with a big bulldozer.
Well, I'm not sure how they could afford it
Well,
today.
I don't know what their situation
Yeah.
is, and other than they've been gifted the house, these lots, and it's like, I wish I had that problem.
They've been gifted. I mean, they got, I don't know how many vehicles, side by side, four-wheeler. You look down in there, my gosh, they got tons of toys. And
I just don't trust them, and I think if they really had in good faith would be willing to sell me the lot, because they did mention those 3 lots were for sale back a couple years ago or right after, and it's like, I don't want all 3 lots, I just want the 1 lot. And well, no, we're going to sell all 3, and then everything just kind of changed because they were targeting that dumpster.
yeah,
And I think they have no good intentions.
I don't either. Yep.
I got to run into a meeting.
Well,
I
I just wanted to visit with you about it so that
I'm willing. I'd
feel good.
I just don't think it changes anything. Based off her saying or Kevin saying they're going to see this through the end, to the end.
Well, Janice is a document person. Is that something that you'd be willing to write a document if you can't attend the meeting? Could you write a document and sign it?
I could write something and I'll email it to you, Brian.
And then
and Tim.
we could present that.
Yeah.
Say, does this
Yeah.
change anything?
Yeah.
Because to come to the meeting,
I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I think it's all about the appraised value of the lot and how much that detriments it, one. But really, if you step back and you solely focus priority on, you got pictures of Roger building it. There was no agreement that it was temporary, which implies that it was a permanent for the neighborhood. There were no secondary options to place that dumpster anywhere else in the neighborhood. There's no evidence of that or no artifacts of such. And for him to sign something literally, right, months before he died and he had dementia and other issues,
and you could barely.
then I would say we stand on our own. And the worst worst a judge to me or jury could do is say, okay, there's no damages, just remove the dumpster, right? Why would they be entitled, if you remove the dumpster, why would they be entitled to any dollars? If it was, so that's what I would do.
Yeah, I sure would hate to do that though.
I would too. I absolutely, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I got to run in here.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Good to see you.
It's really good to see you. You're looking good.
Thanks for the loan.
You bet. And just
And-
hold on to it. And